Well, good morning, and thank all of you for coming this morning. We really appreciate it. It's great to see so many family, friends, and extended family. And I said I wasn't going to start. So, before we talk about Dad in length and reliving some great memories, one of the things this is a celebration of his life. And as you know, Oregon was too cold for him, and when Mom passed in the fall of 2008, Dad decided in the fall of 2009 he was going to go to warmer territory. So he went back to Tucson, and for the last 6 years has had a wonderful time at the independent retirement home he lived in Tucson. One of the things that Dad was, as you know, was someone who was full of life and really lit up the room when he would come in. So what we'd like to share with you before we go into the memorial piece is Dad was the lead star in this hip-hop video. The retirement home was having a competition of videos, and they won first place. And Dad was, again, one of the key people. A lot of you may not recognize him. He's a lot thinner in Tucson than he was here. But he definitely is the guy that comes out at the beginning. He puts on the yellow shirt, the shades, the gold chain, and the hat. So take it away, Mindy. So we wanted to share that as a family because we thought that was really epitomizing who Dad was. Again, loving life and enjoying it. Not being afraid of taking risks. So for those of you, we're going to share some stories that you may or may not know about Dad, but hopefully afterwards there will be some additional comments made about it. But as you know, Dad was born in Chicago, Illinois in 1927. He was named after his father, John Edward, whose nickname was Terry. An only child, Dad's father, John Edward, passed away only a few months after he was born. And he passed away from a disease called consumption. Today we call it TB. So as a 3-month-old baby, not only did Dad lose his father, as an infant, both he and his mother were evicted from a flat that they were living in Chicago. The story is that the man that John Edward contracted and paid in full to build his home never paid his subcontractors. So both Dad and his mom were evicted for lack of payment and were forced out of their home. I personally believe that John's resiliency is part of what has defined Dad in his early years. His mom did find an administrative job working for the Navy, but due to limited funds, they moved in with her cousin to make ends meet. And remember, this was during the time of the Great Depression. There wasn't any daycare. And unfortunately, there was not any additional family members that were available to take care of her. So, Dad was on his own a lot as a young boy. I just heard another story from my older brother this morning as you were all coming in, which must have been discussed over probably a bourbon or maybe a gin and a tonic. And maybe he was sheltering me as the daughter. But I didn't know at age 12 that he ran liquor and drove liquor between places. But he was an excellent student and athlete, and as he was growing up, he learned to become very resourceful in different ways. In fact, during the summer in school and holidays, Dad would find different odd jobs. Now, one thing he did share with me, and again, this was over a couple of gin and tonics, he said, and this was during his 88th birthday when I had a chance to visit him, he was telling me about one of his favorite jobs, and that job was, he, as a youngster, was a bookie, and that he would run between different bookies, and he loved it, and the reason was because he would be paid 35 cents plus a good tip if they won. By 15, he said another job that really paid well was being a milkman. And for those of you who remember, back in the day when milk was in glass bottles, when the cream would be floating on the top, and the milkman would actually deliver it to your front door, Dad enjoyed it, but he didn't stay in the job very long. And why? He said, well, women would come down in very provocative nighties. And how did I say this politely, they would offer to exchange their payment if that would be possible. But Dad said it was just too hard on him. He couldn't keep up with it, so he gave that up and moved on. And again, just recently at our memorial in Tucson with his friends there, I learned from my brothers that the reason, one of the key reasons, my grandmother sent Dad away from Chicago to boarding school when he was a young high school kid is because they thought he was so good with numbers that the mob may have really wanted to recruit him. So Grandma sent Dad off to Wayland Academy to get away from that potential lifestyle. So it's amazing the things you learn about your parents. At 17, Dad graduated from Wayland Academy in Wisconsin, and with honors. And that's where he met Mom. He was on the honor roll every year. He was president of the senior class, and he was captain of the basketball team. Dad was awarded scholarships both to Princeton University and the University of Chicago. It was then 1944. Dad chose instead to forsake his scholarships to serve his country, and he entered the Navy's B-12 program. After serving in the Navy, Dad then went back to Princeton. Again, a lot of people don't know this, but he was there less than a year when his mother had a heart attack. Dad chose then to go back to Chicago to help support her financially until her health recovered. The job he took was what the company called Cudahy. And I remember him telling me stories about how he would go into butcher shops or small grocery stores to market and sell this new product. What he said he liked about it was this big package, and again, in the old days, it was white lard. Well, Cudahy had this new product to where you would take this yellow dye and you would squish it in there and it would be much more appealing. It was called margarine, or for those of you, it would be called oleo. But Dad really loved this job because he got not only to travel, but as a perk, he had personal use of this really, really sharp, solid black company car. And then a major turn in Dad's life happened. Sometimes he would tell me, it's funny how one decision alters your entire life's course. Well, Dad's one decision that changed his entire trajectory was, of course, having to do with Mom. Dad in his youth was quite a ladies' man. And Mom, well, she was quite a catch herself. So Dad was scheduled to go to a dance up north with a nice but different young lady. Now, Dad didn't